Welcome everybody to the Cast from the Coast. My name is Adam Miles and I'm joined as always by Josh Lambert, Aaron Peerless, and Tim Johnson. Tim, what are we talking about tonight?
We're going to talk about a great moment from 1979. And it wasn't when I was born. It was the second moment, which was the release of Phantasm.
Stay tuned. Tim, how about, okay, let me do that again.
No, leave it. Josh's synopsis was great.
Yeah, I got a synopsis for you.
All right, give us a synopsis, Josh.
It's a fucking acid trip. This movie, no one knows what's happening. You got alien leprechauns. You got fucking Jawas. You got death balls, fucking metal baseballs shooting blood out. You got yellow fingers that turn into beetles. This movie, I don't even know what it is. It's the variety show of horror movies.
Wicked. All right.
And there's something about this tall, lurchy fella. He looks like a reject Lurch from the Addams Family.
He can lift a whole coffin.
Lift a coffin.
No fucks given. Yeah. All right. So I'll give the real synopsis, but I like Josh's better.
That was pretty intuitive.
Not pretty good.
It's pretty intuitive.
Yeah. I'll say with actual things from the movie.
Not, actual details.
Yeah, not opinion pieces. But
those were all facts.
They were facts.
They were,
but not synopsis facts.
All right, I'll just give the fucking synopsis. All right, just let me do this. It's only 2 lines, 2 sentences.
Let him have it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Focus. A teenage boy and his friends face off against a mysterious grave robber known only as the Tall Man, who keeps a lethal arsenal of terrible weapons with him.
Does he?
Yeah.
Huh?
But define terrible to Josh.
Little shiny death balls. Right in
little
the
shiny death balls and fingers.
One death ball.
Well, apparently in the original script there was a whole bunch of them that were written and stuff like this.
Spent all their budget on evil Jawas.
Spent all their budget on evil Jawas. Okay, so yes, so let's kind of get to the nitty-gritty of the story here for a moment, because as Josh said, what the fuck did I watch? So this is a classic movie from 1979 that's had many re-releases. It's got a huge fan base. 5 movies total in the series: Phantasm, Phantasm 2, Phantasm, Lord of the Dead, Phantasm Oblivion, and Phantasm Ravager. The movie series has a huge cult following, and Angus Scrimm, who played the Tall Man, was considered a legend in the horror field to a lot of people. And Reggie is what a lot of people would consider a very Ash Williams type of character in this series. And you'll see that as we get into the movies themselves. The movie itself, this movie was done on a budget. Aaron was talking before the show about this. You got to give some credit to Don Coscarelli and his crew, his interesting crew, which included his wife and his father and all kinds of different people involved. I mean, they really pulled it out of their ass with this movie to make the movie as much of a cult classic as it currently is, to have spawned such a future development in a series. But yes, it is an acid trip of a fucking movie. And when you watch this movie for the first time, I agree. I remember seeing this a long time ago, but I had seen part 2 first. Because a friend of mine told me, you don't need to see part 1. Just watch part 2. And I didn't
Maybe
get
that's
why
what we
he's...
should have did, Josh.
Well, they do flashbacks in part 2 big time, so you kind of catch up really
joy.
quick, right?
Yeah, you do kind of get the entirety of the story of part 1 in like 5 minutes at the beginning of part 2. So I did understand where things were going, and I thought it was great. But then I went back years later because I didn't have access to Phantasm 1 for years. I couldn't find a copy of it to watch. Eventually, with the onset of DVDs, eventually with the onset of DVDs and re-releases that were occurring, I picked it up at Walmart once for like $5 in the bin, and I watched it. And I remember going, "Huh, okay." And I don't think I've watched it since like we just rewatched it just to like do this review.
Did you
It
watch
was
this with your boy? Because I know sometimes you watch movies with him. Did he see this?
he didn't want to watch this one.
Oh, fuck,
He
imagine
was
that.
yeah. He was I gave him the option. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to watch this movie." And he's like, "No, I'm going to go play PlayStation instead." I'm like, "Okay, you can do that."
I was curious what little fella said about it.
Yeah. He probably would have said something similar to you but with less profanity.
Oh,
So,
my kid bailed out too.
Oh, he didn't want to watch it either?
No.
Yeah.
Did he start watching it and then decide he didn't want to?
That's a
everything
different
I
case
know.
entirely.
He looked at me and said,
What is this?
like, I know he wanted to curse. But he looked at me, and I'll curse for him. But he looked at me and said, "What the fuck are we watching?" That's what he said, 20 minutes. And then he just got up and left.
So this movie, the story is really convoluted because they don't openly state what's going on for most of it. What you find is when you go back and you piece it together. I found that when I watched this movie, I had to think about what I had just watched to piece together where it came from and what it ended up being. As weird as that sounds, it's not very straightforward because the movie is very musically inclined in the fact that everything is just somber walks with music and scenes where there's not a lot of dialogue and just music blaring at you. So the essential of this is that the boy in this movie, Michael, his brother Jody lives with him and is looking after him. He's an older character. Their parents died 2 years previous. And now Jody's friends have all come together because in the very opening scene, one of their friends gets stabbed to death by a woman who's not a woman. She's really the old man. That's the tall man. That's creepy. And she turns into the tall man while she stabs him.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You didn't
The
know
very
that?
op-
You know what I mean?
This is the
Didn't know
fucking
that?
movie.
Yeah!
Like,
No
I
sense.
literally kept a what the fuck tracker on my notes. Because I don't think I've ever said what the fuck as many times during a film as I did watching this.
I know. See,
But
okay,
you know
let
what
me
I'm
just
saying,
get
Tim?
this-
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
No, I know, but it makes no sense. Like
No
what
sense.
you said made no sense.
There was
Like,
no reason why he was there, was screwing some chick that just so happened to be a guy, that like an old guy who converted to the chick to screw him
Okay.
to kill him.
So
There's no reason for that.
Okay, let me
this
just
tall
get
man.
this out first. I can tell that this movie was made with love.
Okay.
Okay, I can tell that there was heart and soul put into this movie, and that's why. That's one of the main reasons why I'm not just like getting all fucking willy nilly with it. Okay, I can tell that. How do you say his last name? Don.
Coscarelli.
Oscarelli. Yeah.
Okay, you guys said it. I won't say it. This is all butchered. I could tell that he legit had a vision, and he stuck to his vision. And I think it's awesome that he got his vision out. But I feel that with a first entry, personally, as a person that watches movies, it was way too convoluted to the point where it was unnecessarily so. You can get your point across about being weird without making no sense. Like, come on.
Look.
Oh,
And
yeah.
again, listen. Deborah said it herself. They made a fucking movie. There's no greater accomplishment at the amount of work that goes into making a movie. I can't give enough props to anyone that produces a movie, let alone a successful movie that then becomes a cult classic and breeds a bunch of sequels. But this fucking movie makes no goddamn sense. It was so confusing to me. Okay, so you got the tall man. He kills people. Okay,
got
and
that.
he harvests
Yeah.
their organs or whatever. Got ya. Makes sense.
Yep.
Why does he bang him first? Unnecessary. Didn't need
And
to
he doesn't
turn into
bang
a
all
woman
of
and
them
bang
either.
him. No. So he did that for his own sick pleasure.
See, I looked at it a different way. When you see like the close to the end of the film, you see the flash between her face and the old man's face, the tall man's face, and her face and the tall man's face. I think it's two separate people, and I think they're working together.
Okay,
She's luring people from the bar,
Let
and
me.
yeah,
You two are fucking biased, and you're
Why?
going on information that you got from 4 other movies. Okay, you developed an opinion of all 5 movies with one. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Me and
maybe.
Josh have never seen this before.
Yeah, it's no
I-
different than me talking about the Evil Dead, though. I have all that outside knowledge, and that
But-
shapes my feelings on the original.
But that's not true, and I'll tell you why. Because you haven't seen the other movies yet.
Right.
This movie stands on its own compared to the rest of them. You could literally not ever watch this movie and watch the rest of the series and
Then why
forget
did we
that this
do
one.
that?
Let's
Because
do
you
that.
got to start at the beginning.
right.
No,
You
I-
got to get an idea where they started from and then what they moved to 10
That's
years
right.
later.
The rest of the movies
Yeah.
are very much so a different tone, and they make
Sure.
sense. They
So
really
the
do.
perception I had, my first viewing, is that it was one entity, and he transformed back and forth.
It
with this
is.
girl. Whether or
It
not that's
is.
accurate, that's what I perceived.
Yes.
So the tall man just goes into a bar, puts on his lady face, finds a dude, bangs him in the cemetery. Once he gets his jollies off, stabs him,
him.
cuts his legs off, and turns him into an evil Jawa in a bin.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Jawa.
And that goes to show, because at the end of the movie,
Oh,
when
and he's an
he's going
alien.
after her.
Forgot that
Yeah.
part.
He's
That-
an alien.
He's an alien. So their parents died. Now their friend died, and everybody's coming together for the funeral. But see, Michael's really weirded out that his brother's going to leave him, because his brother's basically said, "I'm going to leave and I'm going to go travel." And so he's like following his brother. And when he follows his brother to the funeral, he witnesses after the funeral the tall man picking up the coffin with like little to no effort and throwing it into the back of the car, the hearse. And he gets weirded out by the situation and starts looking into it. And that's when we get more and more of this weird shit going on. And you find out about the evil Jawas and the weird room with the pillars and all that kind of shit.
First, he goes to Grandma, who's like an old school gypsy seance kind of like tarot cards.
And she totally
all that
dunes him, by the way.
Right. And
Josh is great.
and then there's this magic box that they make appear. So they
That's the-
establish that
yeah.
magic existence in this universe. So
Yeah.
this is now a movie with a woman that transforms into men to kill people, to turn them into evil Jawas, who's also an alien, who has a parallel dimension between a couple of pillars where he makes the Jawas do slave labor for him. And then on the top of that, magic's also real.
Mars? Like, where was the planet that they were doing all this Jawa shit on? Where they were all
Mars.
walking and shit. Where was that?
Just say it was Mars.
Tatooine?
Mars, Tatooine.
Like, what the fuck?
Like, what?
Like,
Okay.
so going into this, all right, I usually with, a movie that's been out for as long as it's been, and I never watched it. I watch trailers on YouTube just to get an idea, okay, what am I, and I feel that the trailers didn't really,
What could the trailer possibly say to set you up to this?
so, but I absolutely got the vibe that this movie wasn't just a horror movie, it was a science fiction movie as well, right?
Kind of in between, yeah.
Yeah, so I got that, and what made me excited was you don't normally see that, like a blend between sci-fi and horror, and when you do, you get aliens, Predator,
Event Horizon.
or fucking like I don't know.
Throws, other
There's-
things.
There's a bunch.
Even like Tremors or Doom or whatever. Like
Well,
those.
John
yeah.
Carpenter's The Thing, or Ghosts
Sure.
of Mars, or yeah. So I was excited, and I spent pretty much the whole running time, pretty much like Josh, like
what the fuck is this
What
movie?
is going on with this movie?
I think you should have written a synopsis, Josh, for this.
A bunch of shit happens, and I don't fucking understand it.
I'm crying listening to you do this. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's
know
talk
what?
about the characters
The
real
best
quick.
tagline before you go, Adam. Sorry to interrupt, but the best tagline for this is: if you're looking for a horror that's got balls, it's found you.
That's kind of clever. It's got the little death
Except for
ball.
there's only one ball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
According to Josh.
there's more than one ball.
That's evident in the sequels too.
So now they end and kind of give you it was all a dream trope, which is the most sensical thing of the whole fucking movie. Because then that explains why it makes no goddamn sense.
The ending doesn't give you it's an all a dream trope.
It kind of does.
It
does.
He wakes up and he's like, "Oh, Joey," and then
Reggie's there.
Reggie, who's not dead now, says,
Right.
"Yeah, no, your brother died in a car crash long ago.
Yeah.
You're just having a bad dream."
But then the very, very, very end.
Yeah, then they reveal that it wasn't a dream. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Like that's the end twist, but
It's like outside of the dream, all of a sudden, Tall Man's real, like really real.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand what tall man
So
is.
he's just a very tall man. That's all there is.
Why
So-
are his little minions short?
Because
Make
he's
him look
tall.
taller.
Yeah, because he's tall. It wouldn't be Tall Man and the Tall Minions. They got to be short, man. Come on.
Those minions get better. I really like those
They
minions.
do get better, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Mike, obviously. He's the young boy in
We're
this.
still on the fucking characters.
I'm just pushing through them real quick.
Oh man.
We got Jody, the older brother. We got
Yeah.
Reggie, the friend, the ice cream
Reggie's
man.
the best.
Love
Reggie is the best. He
Yeah.
gets even better in the series too, I will tell
Yeah.
you. So we got the Lady in Lavender, which is the alternate reality character to the Tall Man. Then we got obviously the Tall Man. We got the fortune teller. We got the caretakers, and we got yeah. Okay, let's move on. Josh, why don't you just give us your notes, please?
Oh, I tell you, you know what? It's movies like this where the notes come in handy because this is a doozy.
Oh no.
Just unfiltered, pure adulterated. Just this is what I was thinking. When
We
I
have
was
had a
watching
doozy of a day.
This is a doozy.
Constant stream of Josh's thought on paper.
Turn up
Brain-
your volume,
brain-
everyone, because this
brain
is going to be a
droppings.
good one.
Josh's brain droppings.
This is my first and probably only viewing of Phantasm. It took place July 19th, 2020 at 7:23 p.m. So the first note I just took was greasy. This chick's doing the dirty in the graveyard and it was getting pretty greasy. Who wears stilettos to a graveyard bang?
Not even to a graveyard, to a graveyard bang.
Horse.
Accurate.
Whores.
What the fuck? She turned into an old man. So this was my first what the fuck.
Okay,
one of many.
that's one. I'm gonna keep note here. That's one. Continue.
It's hard to believe he killed himself. Quote. He was naked with stab wounds. With a full-on, like, probably his bird hanging out and everything. And they just come across me. It's like, oh yeah, he killed himself. What a horrible time. I think he was brutally murdered and stabbed while being banged.
Full mast.
What the fuck? Cloakman in the graveyard. That was my second what the fuck. Just quick shot. Little Cloakman running by the tombstones. I was like, what was that? Okay,
The
did
the
I miss
magical-
something?
The magical mini Jawa.
Who's this little Cloakman running around the graveyard? This character is bald, but still has a rat tail. What style? Little did I know I would learn to love this character known as Reggie.
Reggie!
Reggie.
This old man just deadlifted a coffin all by himself. What the actual fuck? That's number 3. This grandmother looks like Ozzy Osborne. I love that the kid is in the bushes and mouths, what the fuck?
Does that count as a fourth? What the fuck?
I don't know, but it summed up my whole movie because the whole time I felt like this kid just staring through the bushes at stuff going on, mouthing "what the fuck" to myself. Reggie is a guitar-wielding, folk-singing ice cream man. Just let that sink in for a
When
moment.
they were singing together, that was probably my favorite scene in the whole movie. They're just playing guitar and
I
shit.
just love how they introduced him as an ice cream man. I was like, oh, he's an ice cream man. Because that's just a normal occupation in the 70s, apparently.
With a dope-ass truck, man. Come on.
Right.
The old man graveyard banger strikes again. That kid's face when he sees those big, juicy milkers. I swear, they had this kid on set and they actually showed him a pair of tits. Because that face he made was unreal. That kid deserves some sort of acting prize.
That was a genuine reaction. His first pair
That
of
was
boobs.
definitely.
It was like a deer in the headlights.
That director's on set. He's like, hey kid, you ever see a big set of dirty milkers? You're gonna today. Oh my. Why is he chewing on the dirty bar hose panties? Come on, man. You just met this dirty girl. She's got stilettos. She's in the graveyard, and you got her dirty drawers hanging out of your mouth.
It was rough.
Quote, little and brown and low to the ground is how he describes these evil Jawas. Little and brown and low to the ground. This tall guy looks and growls like a Walmart lurch from the Addams Family. I just kept expecting him to come on and be like, you rang?
Close.
Quote,
Boy.
retarded kid Timmy up the street.
Oh, man. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, he's like, are you sure it wasn't the retarded kid Timmy up the street? You can't say that.
That's wrong.
79. They used to
I
say
tell you.
that all the time.
That's
Yeah.
wrong.
Who is Bucket Hat guy? There's just he was like helping tall man. He's got a bucket hat, and then he just disappears, and you don't see him for the rest of the film.
He's like that's the caretaker, isn't it? Yeah, that's the
I
caretaker.
guess.
One of his minions.
Is he also an alien?
Let's go yes. Let's say yes.
I guess.
Also yes.
What the fuck number 4? Metal Death Ball. Okay. What the fuck number 5? Why is his blood yellow? What
Custody.
the fuck number 6? Why did he keep the fucking finger?
To prove things.
Okay, I believe you. Quote, this kid is actually a genius. I figured out why he kept the finger. He skipped the no one believes the kid trope. The classic trope of horror movies, where you don't get the evidence and then no one believes you. This kid figured it out. You take the wiggly little yellow finger and you put it in a box.
It's true. And what did his brother say when he looked at it? Okay, I believe you.
Okay.
Like
believe you.
instantly.
Okay. Checks out. You got a wiggle finger. Makes sense.
Here's a shotgun for you.
Yeah. What the fuck number 7? The finger turned into a beetle. Why? What? I don't understand. How? What? Just so they're aliens that have a makeup that when their limbs are detached, they turn into beetles.
Maybe just one alien.
Is that just for him?
Maybe
Does Buckethead Man also turn into bugs when he gets chopped up? Who knows? These are the questions I want answered in the sequel, I guess. Alright. Oh, that Reggie. What a scamp. Always shows up at the worst possible time.
That scamp.
Quote, warning shots are bullshit.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to hear the synopsis for this thing. It's a fucking horror variety show.
Sorry, I feel like I let you down. Sorry.
The next note was, what's up with the evil Jawas? Okay, at this point, I checked to see how far we were in. 1 hour into this film, and I have absolutely no fucking idea what is going on. I do not understand the characters' motivations. I don't know what the bad people are. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't understand what's going on. So he takes dead bodies and then somehow converts them into evil Jawas with the death ball? Question mark. Quote, stake through the heart. So nothing about this guy says vampire. Why are they immediately going to stake to the heart?
I don't know why they said that either. It kind of
I
confused
don't-
me even more.
They're probably looking at it like he hangs around a mausoleum. He's the
Yeah.
undead, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the assumption before they find out he's an alien type character. I don't know.
That's a whole nother layer. He's Dracula, yellow-blooded bug,
Alien
bug man,
vampire.
alien Dracula.
Eh.
The music is very Exorcist inspired. I know you guys said you really like the music, and I definitely got Exorcist vibes.
Yeah.
This kid just MacGyvered a handheld explosive.
That was cool.
That was
Yeah.
cool.
He's like, oh yeah, I got a little Scotch tape, got a push pin, and a shotgun shell. Boom, busted out of my door.
Bam.
The metal death ball is back. O-Reg is back for the final battle. What the fuck, number 8? What's up with these chemical barrels? It looks like they stored Walter White's money, and apparently they have the evil dwarves in them.
They're gestating. They're getting ready.
Yeah.
Aliens now, with a slave drone race of dwarves made from corpses. And this is Aaron's favorite movie? What a mess. Don't do it, Reggie! What the fuck, number 9? Thorn-covered elf lady. Also not explained whatsoever. Don't know what her deal was. Another alien, I suppose. She killed Reggie, and she didn't even bang him. I feel Reggie got the short end of the stick here. It was all a dream ending. That's the first thing about this movie that made sense. The whole thing felt like a fevered hallucination. I honestly have no idea what this movie is even about.
That's where I expect you to end. Right there.
Okay.
Perfectly. Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's 8 what the fucks. And a lot of other interestings. Okay.
Yeah. But I at least mouthed / said aloud, what the fuck? At least 8 or 9 times. At least.
Okay. Oh, man. Okay.
This movie is cray, bud.
It is, but stick with it.
And I
Stick
get
with it.
there's more story being explained later. I get
Yeah.
that. Cool.
There's
A1,
more later.
I'll take
Yeah.
that.
Deal with
This
it
movie
later.
Right now?
this movie specifically isn't my favorite. It's this whole series is my favorite.
I know. Just
Yeah.
roasting you.
It gets much better. Aaron, why don't
Yo.
you give us a little bit about the effects work here, buddy?
All right. Well, I made a few notes other than effects stuff in this because I like this movie, or I like this series of movies a lot. Come to find out that Don's wife was responsible for makeup and stuff in this, and she would kind of go along the lines of the script and everything, and then she would do the makeup and put it out on set. And I mean that female tall man character comes out with some pretty brilliant makeup right out of the get-go when she's in the graveyard for the first time. So initially I'm like, I don't remember the heavy makeup like that. She looks like she belongs on a street corner or whatever, right? So but anyway, huge funeral parlor, love the mausoleum. I know for a fact because of all these movies that I've seen, the ball effects were shot in reverse, kind of like
Makes sense.
a machete kind of shot in Friday the 13th, shot in reverse, and they had somebody that used to pitch baseballs, so they would throw this thing, and then they would slow it down and bring the ball down so that's why you always see it kind of dip and then come back. That's how they did it. They have a low budget for things like this, but that's how they were shooting a lot of the shots, right? Beautiful side-loaded hearse in this. Badass Hemi Cuda, right? Followed up with Reggie's awesome mullet. I mean, you put those three things together, you got a killer movie, in my opinion, anyway. The acting in it is not really the best, but they were just starting out. They were a group, like a family group, that were kind of putting this together, kind of like an Adam Sandler kind of group. They were all decided to put their blood, sweat, and tears into this film and help Don out. One of Reggie's lines: "We are as hot as love, Smallest bar on the planet, right? Like, I don't know if you guys realize the Hemikuda pulls out front of this bar, and it's like, what, 300
The-
square feet?
The Hemikuda's like the same length as the width of the
Yeah.
bar.
Yeah. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. I thought it was great use of the lighter to hold up the coffin lid when Mike was in the funeral parlor, and the tall man and his minion kind of walk in, and it's like he's walking into the coffin, and he's about to open it, and then the tall man opens the door, and he kind of turns around and walks out. But you see the actual lighter sitting there holding the coffin lid up. You don't really see stuff like that. You kind of just, somebody's holding it or something. But they
I
actually
didn't notice that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. The first sphere death, great detail on the guy pissing his pants. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but he actually pisses his pants. Blood is a little too bright, and latex was used as the drill was going in, so you can see the latex on the face.
You can kind of see it pulling from the skin too.
Yeah. They all go like this with the ball in their head, and you can hide blood lines and stuff behind that pretty easy. You get the shot, the angle right, and then you can have the blood pouring out of the sphere, right? I love those. I think those things are, we thought those up, and I think in latter movies you're going to see that you're going to really start to like these things. Good severed finger effect in the box. Yeah, it's kind of a cheesy little illusion. I mean, you're holding the box, you get this finger moving, you just put a severed finger in, you stick your finger up through the box, and you kind of move it around, and that's how they, kind of do that shot, right?
I'll just add to that. The only thing I didn't like about the finger is that he actually, when you watch the movie, and I picked it up on this time, when he cut the fingers, he cut them like above the knuckle.
Right, and then you saw
and then it's like a full finger.
Yeah.
So I did pick up on that, though.
That's cool.
Continuity error.
Yeah. Dead dwarf.
Continuity error? It turns into a fucking beetle.
Continue, Aaron.
Dead dwarf makeup in hearse was latex and cotton tissue. I noticed that. Just like, the first Evil Dead, it was just latex and cotton and things like that, right? So, another quote from Reggie: "This guy's not going to leak all over my ice cream, is he?" Like, awesome. That's awesome. And the way he's looking, right? It's just hilarious, right? Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what the mark is on Mike's face below his left eye. It's all of a sudden he's got a mark right here, and there's no blood or anything from it. It just looks 3D, but we didn't even see him get cut or anything. So for it to heal that fast, I was a little unsure what they were trying to do right there with that. Good cobwebbing effects. I saw the cobwebbing as they're trying to pull that coffin out, and the cobwebs are all on it. They look pretty decent. Reggie's stabbing scene was good, but the blood was off again. I thought the color was off, and maybe they were doing this again for rating purposes, right? Maybe they decided to, they were told that the blood had to be a certain color in order for them to get a lower rating or whatever on that, right? But was it a dream? Really?
I don't fucking know. I'll tell you that.
And those are my notes.
Nice. Okay. Wow. I mean, there's a lot that went into this movie when it comes to the effects work, but that pretty much, that covers it, because there's, okay, never mind.
Hello everybody, I am Fabio Frizzi and you are listening to Daycast from the Coast.
Tim, do you have some trivia for us?
Always.
Trivia time with Tim.
There's always trivia. How do you say his name again? Don
Coscarelli.
Coscarelli, yeah.
Coscarelli.
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 Yeah.
Coscarelli.
You got it.
All right. Don Coscarelli rented all the filming equipment he could use to make this movie, always on Fridays, so he could use it all weekend and then return it Monday. all while actually having to pay 1 day's rental on the equipment. So that right there,
Yeah.
the fact that he was
I've heard of other films doing this too. That's the true low budget. Let's make this happen with what we got.
Yep.
the genesis of the story came to Don Coscarelli in a dream. Josh.
No,
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Oh, listen. One night in his late teens, he dreamed of fleeing down endlessly long marble corridors pursued, by a chrome sphere intent on penetrating his skull with a wicked needle. There was also a quite futuristic sphere dispenser out of which orbs would emerge and begin to chase. So this was his dream.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, or fucking peyote or something. The stone-looking interior of the mausoleum was actually constructed of plywood and marble-colored plastic contact paper.
Well done.
Yep, MacTac. The ball scenes were a simple special effect. The spheres were thrown from behind the camera by a baseball pitcher and then shot and printed in reverse. The ball attaching itself to the man's head was filmed by sticking it on his head and then pulling it off, shot in reverse. That would have been a great reveal trivia, but apparently Aaron's fucking taking, drinking my Kool-Aid too, I guess.
Sorry, Tim.
No, he's not.
No, it's all right. The mansion used for the exterior shots of the mausoleum were also seen in Burnt Offerings from 1976 and A View to a Kill from 1985.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. A little bit of trivia, Josh. A little bit of trivia.
That.
Try to broaden minds. Around 8 minutes, the coffin that Mike sees the tall man lift by himself and shoved back into the hearse was made out of balsa wood and empty, and had a rope on the side facing away from the camera, making it easier to handle. The rope can be briefly seen when the tall man lifts up the coffin.
Yeah.
Yep. The song Ace of Spades by Motorhead was released a year after the film and is reported to have origins in the film. At a New York screening of the movie, Lemmy was heard to have muttered that Mike's head looked like an ace of spades, and spent much of the rest of the film writing out the lyrics in a notepad. He used a pencil that had been given to him earlier that day by David Soul. So Ace of Spades has connections to Phantasm.
It's interesting. And it's all due to Mike's haircut where it kind of comes down and flows out.
All the little people, or Josh likes to call them dirty Jawas, were played by children.
Dirty children.
The alien dwarves bear strong resemblance to Jawas,
Yeah, no kidding.
but the design was already completed before Star Wars was even released.
Fake news.
Ooh, fake news.
Fake news.
Didn't the toys come out like a year before the film was released?
So this is also kind of Star Wars related. J.J. Abrams, co-writer and director of Star Wars: The Force Awakens, in 2015 revealed in an interview published by Entertainment Weekly that he came up with the name Captain Phasma after seeing its chrome design and reminded him of the ball in Phantasm.
On top of that, this is J.J. Abrams does love the Phantasm movie.
Fucking trivia time. Tim's trivia time.
Go ahead, Tim.
What was I saying? Sorry.
I was just going to say J.J. Abrams does love the Phantasm movie enough that Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' production company, is responsible for the re-releases.
Yeah.
Of the original.
See, they're loved. What can I say?
I mean,
Trivia time with Tim.
Please
Okay?
proceed, Tim.
The film's Turkish title. The film's Turkish title, Maniac, translates to psycho.
Okay.
Man, yeah.
That makes about as much sense as what Josh's seen.
Yeah. I don't agree with this, but Entertainment Weekly ranked this as the 17th scariest film of all time.
That's no.
Nope.
That's weird.
Yeah.
When? Back in 1979?
Even
this-
that.
Written by a 6-year-old.
Yeah. This film's a lot of things, but one of them is not scary. And I said, hey, when I get into my fucking review and all this, all will be revealed of how I feel. But, yes, this movie was not scary. Spanish distributors of the movie decided, instead of translating the title, to simply add a at the end of it, making it Phantasma, as a pun on Phantasma, ghost. Interesting.
Okay.
You guys look like you're getting bored, so I'm going to give you one more.
Drop us with a whammy.
Yeah.
Whammy. Well, it's not a whammy, but Reggie's, so I'll just fucking say it. During the scene where the tall man is walking down in the town, he momentarily reacts negatively to the cold temperatures of Reggie's ice cream truck. The reason for this is due to him being an alien from a planet that's a hot environment. This implied later in the film that when Mike briefly sees into the tall man's world, he describes the hot temperatures. So, yeah, that just basically said that he's from Tatooine. And
I remember when he saw the fog or whatever come out of the ice cream truck, but I didn't think he recoiled from it. I thought he
He did. He kind of went.
I do believe I said reacts negatively, so it wasn't recoil or disgust.
Okay.
It was
sure.
He reacted negatively.
Just,
Opposite
I'm not
of positive.
A big fan of this.
He bear walks in that scene, by the way. Did you pay attention to that?
Oh,
Yeah, the tall man bear walks out. So he's got, when your arm's coming forward, usually that same sided leg is going back, right? You don't walk by pulling your leg out and your arm at the same time on both sides. It's called bear walking, right? But in that, he's bear walking, and it looks like it looks very awkward.
Because he doesn't know how to walk.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Because he's an alien.
I like that excuse.
Final piece, body count, 5. Mike and Jody's parents, Tommy, the mortuary janitor, and Jody.
And Reggie.
Nope, because Reggie's in the sequels.
Yeah, but Reggie gets killed. But then it was all a dream.
And let's face it, that's a little bit of a rip. But that's a little bit of a rip, though, because their parents died 2 years prior to the movie, and they're just mentioned. So it can't really be considered body count.
Trivia time with Tim.
All right, trivia time with Tim.
Argue the trivia, okay?
This is not up for discussion. All right, thank you for your trivia time with Tim. Trivia time, Tim.
I don't feel appreciated.
Well, that'll go to show you.
I don't feel appreciated or valued, you know. Let's hear from fucking Josh, or let's hear from Aaron. Trivia time with Tim.
It was very good, Tim.
Thank you,
very
Tim.
much.
Thank you, Aaron. I'm glad. I hope I made your evening
You did.
that much more meaningful.
Oh, man. All right, let's give our...
You notice Adam shaves his head and he's a dick to me?
It's something about being bald. It just makes you an arsehole.
Channeling my inner Tim.
Yeah.
All right.
Jeepers.
I ain't even mad.
All right.
Go ahead.
Perfect. All right, let's give our final thoughts on this. Let's go around. I want to start with Aaron.
Well, you know what? Even if you think that this is confusing and things like that, any kind of series can start out kind of rocky and get a little better, or it can start out really well and get really shitty. I think in this case, and I hope in this case, because this is one of my favorite series.
Because I almost started yelling movies, and then you're like, could start out really good and then end up shitty, and I'm like,
I'm covering my ass, buddy.
so I didn't bother saying any of it. Continue.
So this is one of those cases where it's got to start somewhere, and yeah, you might get. Sorry, Josh, you will get confused over this whole situation, but let me just reiterate that it will make less sense to you as you get going.
It'll make.
I hope that
sense,
makes you feel.
It'll make less sense, or it'll make
What?
more sense.
Less sense.
Well, this is horrible.
No, I'm kidding. So to me,
I don't think you are. I think I'm going to be 8 movies deep and still not understand what I'm watching.
What the fuck?
When it comes to Phantasm 2 and Phantasm 3, absolute, or Lord of the Dead, and then for some reason Oblivion kind of lost me a little bit, but I got to go back and watch that one again. And
Well,
You're
we're
not
going to anyway.
telling me here.
But anyway, the second one, I think you guys are gonna start falling into a little bit of a groove, and you're gonna get used to the characters. You're gonna start seeing the storyline get a little better and things as it goes here. You're gonna see the method behind the madness, I believe, in the writing and stuff like that. I really think it starts to make sense. I was confused when I first watched these years ago. Went back and watched them, and it makes a lot more sense now. And Josh is like squinting like really hard right now, so I'm hoping that it's kind of
As
sinking
opposed to.
in. Yeah, I don't even have a basis for that kind of squint. When I was growing up, I loved Phantasm. I even named my company Phantom Effects because I loved the font that came up on the screen. I was like, wow, that's so cool. I love this.
Whoa. No association. You can't sue for copyright infringement. No association.
Thank you, John. Glad you got my back on that, man. As far as the acting, yeah, okay, it was all right. But it's the family dynamic that really gets me with this. And they started somewhere. The father, Don's father, stepped up and produced this and threw a whole bunch of money at him and said, "Here, son, let's get you made. Let's get this film made that you saw or in your head, and you want to get it developed. Here's some cash. Let's make this film and look at it today. It's a cult classic. It really is. A lot of people like these films. The first one is a little rough, like I keep saying. It's a little rough to get into, but as we get along here, I'm going to be interested to see how everybody's outlook comes on these. It's hard to get a character development in these films and stuff too, because they are bouncing around all over the place. But I do think that the filming aspect of it, the different shots that they had, the trick shots to make Angus Scrimm or the tall man taller. If you noticed in the ice cream shot that we were talking about earlier, where he kind of winces when you see the cooling coming out of the back of the truck. If you look carefully at that scene again, look at the shoes he's wearing. He's got a lift on those shoes that's like, it's got to be 3 inches, right? So it's little things like that that create this character and make him even taller. If he never did any other movies, the tall man, up to that point, he didn't need to because he was traveling all over the world. He was all over the world doing cons and everything. People couldn't get enough of this guy because he was such a nice guy. And if you ever watch like behind the scenes stuff, you'll know what I'm referring to. He wasn't really that menacing in this, but in the other ones, it starts to build, and you're like, okay, I can see where people are getting a little creeped out over this. Yeah, it's a basis for when I first watched this film, I was like, I love this. I love this. And then the second one, I loved it even more and more and more. And now they're part of my favorite, and it's in my collection. I got multiple copies of each. But I will agree that it was a little painful to watch today. But I'm gonna give it an R, I think, for recommended, because you should see this one before you see the other ones. Because you, as confused as you're going to get with this, you're going to look at the next one and be like, okay,
I still don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, at some point. But they have a lot of kickbacks in the second one that will blend things together a little bit better. But you got to remember that could the tall man be going into an alternate time?
Oh, what?
Could he?
Now there's time travel? Are you shitting me?
Well, you automatically think that everybody automatically thinks he's an alien.
Because
But he-
they say he's an alien.
But what kind of alien? Is he like just from
An
a different...
interdimensional being?
That's an alien, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But what is Ash? Is he an alien because he travels between dimensions?
No,
Right.
he's
Ash.
a human.
Right. What about the Deadite?
He's a deadite. This guy is an alien. They call him an alien.
I can't wait to see the outcome of this of all five films.
Okay.
This is good. This is really
Is the
good.
leprechaun an astronaut because he went to space? No, he's a leprechaun.
Anyway,
Um,
that's my situation with that.
Okay. I'll go next. So, I don't have a huge affinity for this movie. I stick with what Aaron stated. This
Just
is the
say it,
basis.
say it,
This is
say
the
it.
basis for something better.
Right.
And without this movie, we wouldn't have the other movies, and therefore, we wouldn't have where it gets better. It's a place to start, but it really I can't even look back on this movie with rose-colored glasses. Like I look back at this movie, like when I watched it, it was actually a little painful to watch, to be honest. Like I'm watching it going, I can't believe like I love the second one and the third one and stuff like that, and it's like this one is rough. Tim, you brought up a good point. You can see that the movie was made with love. Aaron attributes to that as well. It's the family effect they put into their hearts to it. I give them all the props in the world. Does that mean it's a good movie? No. Just because everybody puts their heart and soul into something doesn't mean it turns out great. And we see that all the time, but I give them the props for what they accomplished. For that, I can appreciate the movie, and I can appreciate where they were going and what they were trying to do with it. The lore, the creativity behind the tall man as it comes out a little bit further down the line is better, but in this movie it really does fall flat. The best part of this movie, Josh, you nailed it on the head. Reggie, he's the best part of the movie, and watching the sequels, and I'm glad that he was the consistency in this movie series. Can I really go as far as to say this is an excellent movie? No. I really can't do that. And do I recommend the movie? It's not going to be on my list of recommendations that I just throw at people all the time. But the movie is pretty good. It's something that I've watched multiple times, even though the last time it was painful. I don't look at it... If I was to look at this movie as a standalone, if there were no sequels that continued the story and everything else, it sure as hell would not be getting a pretty good rating from me. I would probably go down to a good teetering on rated S for shit, to be honest. But the fact that this builds a universe that gets better, and there is a deeper storyline that gets more explanation, and there's better budget to it, and Coscarelli's vision unfolds in a better manner in the future, this basis makes it possible. Therefore, I got to give the movie a little bit more praise. So I will say PG. That's what I'm going to give it. Tim.
Yes.
Please enlighten us.
I flip-flop a lot with this. There was many points where I was sitting there going, what's so fucking great about this movie? Why is everybody saying that this is a classic? And this is, whatever. Okay? We've made a little career for ourselves talking about movies that a lot of people think are fucking shitty, and they're not. A lot of the movies that I'm really into that I saw when I was younger, I can recognize are not necessarily the best movies ever made, but I love them nonetheless. And I could see how this movie can fit there with a lot of people. It's one of the few classic movies that I have not seen until recently, so I don't have any rose-colored glasses or fond memories or anything, so I went into this completely cold. The only thing that I can say that I 100% loved about this movie was the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was eerie, and it was very much a product of late '70s horror movies. Josh mentioned that it just sounded like a take on The Exorcist. It absolutely reminded me of The Exorcist. It reminded me a little bit of John Carpenter in there. Like, it was very much a product of '79. Soundtrack really good. The special effects are okay. Uh, some of them are exactly what you would expect, but I mean, at the same time, they made Star Wars 2 years earlier, so it's like, really, guys? But again, a low budget horror movie, you can expect that. The acting could be very cringy at points. I do agree, Reggie was fucking great. I liked the brothers anyway. I liked that dynamic. I thought that played out really good. Um, Tall Man was cool. He wasn't scary or anything like that. He was just like I said maybe before we were recording. Um, it just he was overacting. Like, and if that's scary to people, I guess. Um, I guess. Um, like I said, I couldn't wait for this movie to get over. And then when it was over, I came to the realization that I have to watch 4 more of them. Hopefully, based off what you guys are saying, that the sequels are better. I will absolutely give this a chance. Like, I obviously have to watch it anyway, um, but I will go into it open-minded. I went into this open-minded, but is it amazing? No. Is it like, will I ever watch it again? Probably not. Um, Groundbreaking? No. Like, I still ask, what's so great about this movie? Um, but I mean, all that being said, I didn't hate it, and I've watched worse things on this platform that we call Daycast from the Coast, and this wasn't one of those. It wasn't. Um, I think what I'll rate it, um, solely based on the promise of what's to come, and that the soundtrack was fucking dope. I'm gonna give it a PG. Now,
Okay.
I might recant that in a future episode if the promise does not get delivered. Okay, and I will never
You
trust.
can't do that. You
Yeah,
can't.
I could do what I want. I'm Tim.
It's
Johnson.
written in stone.
I'm Tim Johnson, he says.
Yeah.
Do what I want. I do feel that this is a lot better than a lot of the movies that came out at that time. But I feel that there was too much going on, and it was too convoluted, and it could have been made simpler. What this reminded me of was, it was like a bad peyote trip, and not that I've done peyote, but like, it just, fever dream. It was just, and it was kind of artsy, and it just fuck off and tell your story. Like,
You know what? If you guys didn't say this about this, then I would have felt weird, because I had the exact same feeling when I first watched this. It's exact same way that I felt. I felt it was like all over the place. I didn't know what I was watching, but I gave it a chance, and I'm happy that you guys are giving it a chance. Kind of
it
cool.
just honestly, the last time I felt like this, I watched Suspiria.
Whoa.
This was the last time that I felt like this was. Why is everybody making this out to be such an amazing series and amazing film and all this? I don't get it. Am I missing something? What am I missing? Because, I don't want to go into a movie and hate it. Okay? I don't. I'm going to give it a PG for the promise of what's to come. Do I want to? I want questions answered, right? I want
Fair
questions answered, and
Fair enough.
I feel that if I would have got all these questions answered in this fucking convoluted movie, I almost would have been mad as well.
It would
It's
have
like,
had to be 8 hours long to answer all the questions I had.
yeah, Because another series that this reminded me of, as far as setting things up for future payoffs, was Saw. The first Saw movie, it's like, what the hell is going on? And you didn't get answers until like Saw 2, Saw 3. Some of them you didn't even get answered till the end, the last Saw movie. So I'm hoping that happens with this. This movie wasn't offensive. Like, I wasn't like, ugh, but I'll never watch it again. I'll never watch it.
Be a long time for me to watch it again too.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that part 2's better.
Okay. We'll bank on that for sure. So, PG from Tim.
Yeah.
Josh, enlighten us.
Yeah. So I was thinking about it, and this movie is kind of like if you have a 5-year-old, and you say, "Okay, design a superhero," and he's like, "Yeah, he's got fucking chainsaw hands, and he's got a machine gun, and he's got a flamethrower, and he can fly, and he can be invisible," and they just start rattling off all this nonsense. That's what this fucking story was. They're like, "Okay, we got this alien guy, and he can transform into this super hot babe with big juicy milkers, and we'll show those on the film." And then there's this the Osborne Grandma, and she does magic, but it never shows up again in the movie because magic, it may or may not just be a dream. And it's all about this little kid with spade hair, and he's scared his older brother's gonna leave because his parents died, and he's having like a Goonie adventures, and he gets a shotgun. This movie is like a 5-year-old wrote it.
I like that synopsis better.
I was almost hoping that like you started like you were going on like a Rick rant. Like I was almost expecting the Rick impression to come out.
Yeah.
Lordy.
It makes no fucking sense, and I highly doubt. I know you guys are promising greatness, and Tim's on board. He's like, yeah, we're gonna get these answers. There is no way in 4 more films they are gonna answer all the questions I have. There's no way they're gonna tell me why he turns them into dwarves. Why is that necessary? There's no way he's gonna tell me who this Vane lady was with the trees and the thorns, who was in it for like 30 seconds, both, and she's gone. There's just no way all of this is going to be explained. I'm sure some of it will be, and probably to continue the storyline, but there's just no way. And I understand the love of a shittier film in the hopes that it creates a great franchise. I get that so much. I really do. But this movie is summed up by a little and brown and low to the ground. This movie is rated shit.
No!
100%.
Rated S for shit from Josh.
Little and brown and low to the ground. I don't understand what's happening in this movie. Hey, maybe the franchise is going to turn out greatness. I get it. Low budget, shitty starter movies turn into great things. Within the Woods, garbage movie. But you know what? I still understood it.
Okay.
I still understood it.
Wow. Okay.
That's all I have to say about this. I have summed up what this movie is to me quite clearly over the last 40 minutes or hour or however long we've been talking about this. I'm just openly confused. And I have to say, not to toot my own horn, I consider myself a pretty smart guy, but I couldn't piece together this puzzle. I don't know what's going on.
I would love.
You're not left alone there, Josh. There's a lot of people that feel that way.
I would love if we get to the second movie and Josh is like, "Where the fuck did this come from? Rated R."
Yeah, exactly.
That would be like amazing.
I followed all my rules.
I really do. I hope that they use this to get funding, and they made a beautiful movie that makes sense. I still think the director, he gets his ideas from dreams, and he's like a 5-year-old writing down the story. He's like, yeah, and it's got chainsaws, and it's got little death balls that shoot lasers, and they
there
go in your
are
head
the
and drill a
boobs
hole.
that appear.
Oh, and there's a desert planet full of Jawa slaves.
And then the boobs.
Yeah.
Sharks with laser beams attached to their
freaking foreheads. Oh man. Okay. Well, that's a pretty random discussion that we've had there. Two PGs, an S, and an R.
We are all over the board
We are
here,
all
folks.
over the board here, and for various reasons. So that's fine. That's fine. So here's to the possibility of something better for you guys to enjoy in the future because you've got your homework. You know what you're doing for the next episodes. So get to it, friends. Get to it. So great discussion tonight, everybody. So, I just want to take a moment to thank everybody for tuning in and, for continuously tuning in as well. So please check us out on Facebook, Misunderstood Art Company. Like, subscribe, follow us there. We're also on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and everything else to our YouTube channel under the same name, Misunderstood Art Company. We also produce weekly content, and we produce the episodes that you're watching right now in audio content format for all of the major podcasting platforms, such as, but not not exclusively on, but including as well, Spotify, iTunes, and Google Play. We're also on Patreon, so take a moment and open up your hearts and your wallets. Thank you. And until next time, Josh.
What the fuck?
Aaron.
This guy's not going to leak all over my ice cream, is he?
And Tim.
What the fuck?
That's it? We're not getting the actual Tim sign off? That's it?
No.
No,
This
that's
movie deserves a what the fuck?
All right.
Interesting.
Fine. That's a first. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Stay spooky.